Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Onward to Victory podcast. My name is Joe Szymanski here with By George Giant Killer. Welcome to the first of our, hopefully many, in the future video previews that we have for you here. Of course, this time we're previewing the George Mason versus VCU big game tomorrow night at 7 in Richmond. It's at VCU at the Siegel Center. Obviously, not an easy place to play. Going up against the first in the A10, first in the A10 Rams. Mason coming off, of course, we'll start with them coming off a huge win last Saturday against Rhode Island. Rhode Island looking to be a play-in game team in the A10 this year, but it's important in the way that Mason got their first win on the road this season. Technically, they did win a neutral site game. They took down Tulane, Chicago. That's the first time Mason has won an opposing team's arena this year, and that does feel good to get that monkey off the back, and especially in A10 play, where road wins are rare to come by, and they are important. It's a big win, though, for the Patriots, as they now look to head into the Siegel Center to take on VCU. From last game, leading point scorer was Josh Oduro with 24, followed by Devon Cooper with 20, Ronnie Polite and Devin Dinkins, the 2 point guards, he's added in 7 points. And then Victor Bailey Jr. added in 9 in his own right. Oduro also with another double-double. I believe his 8th of conference play already. It's been a big conference play season for Oduro. He's looked a lot better in conference play than I think some of us thought he looked in the non-conference play. He looks a lot more like the Josh Oduro we saw last year than sometimes the Oduro we've seen this year. But most importantly, though, going into this VCU game, it's going to be a challenge. Mason starts as 7.5-point underdogs against the Rams on the road here. And that comes with some understanding. VCU has been hot. They've won their last 5. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, including recently, of course, that big win on the road about a week and a half ago against Dayton. At Dayton, that comeback, that stunning comeback where they scored around 6 points in the last 20 seconds to eke it out by 1 against the Flyers on the road. VCU now one of the potential premier favorites for the A10 this year. This is mainly helped out in their cause, of course, by Ace Baldwin, their star guard. When he is there, this offense clicks. Ace only averages about 12 points a game, but importantly, he averages about 6 assists a game for Baldwin. Unless the Patriots can shut him down, it's going to be a problem for them all game. Other key players to look at, though, Brandon Johns, recent transfer forward. He from Michigan, averages about 12.5 points a game and about 5 boards. He also shoots 53% from the field, but only about 24% of that comes from beyond the line, beyond the 3-point line. He's only about a 24% shooter from there, so a lot of his buckets are twos, along with he's about 80% from the free throw line. So John's their leading scorer. Jalen Watkins, another forward, has been a huge piece of the offense recently, had a big game against Richmond recently where he put up 15 points and 10 boards, only 25 minutes play. Watkins, he's 6'7", a very talented wing for them. Going to be a big deal to see how the Patriots can shut him down as he comes into a hot streak as well. And then off the bench for Rhode Island, David Shriver, the 6'6" wing from West Virginia, big name 3-point shooter. If you cannot get this guy off the wings, he's someone who can damage Mason a lot. Very, very talented winger. Again, this is a VCU team, as normal, stockloaded with talent, literally looking like they could be the favorite this year for A10 play. But for the Mason, obviously Josh Oduro, the big deal. Is Ticket Gaines available to play? That's kind of the impending storyline. Ticket on social media has hinted a couple of times that his return should be soon. Whether that means, does he see some time Wednesday? Will he be back for Sunday against Joe's, which we'll be previewing on Saturday night? Do we maybe even wait and see him until February, which is crazy to say already, I know, but from this after Sunday, those games are all in February already. February 1st, back for that game on February 1st. Who we play against home game against Massachusetts. UMass comes to town on the 1st. Does he wait until the road trip? We go on the road to Dusky and then on to Duquesne and then on the road to Loyola Chicago in a Saturday and Chicago on a Wednesday in Pittsburgh. Does he come back then? I think that's kind of been the storyline across the last week and a half. When is Ticket coming back? We know it's not a season ender. Kim English told us it was a couple of weeks. It's starting to come up now in a couple of weeks. And the question is, when is Ticket coming back? When is he a part of this side again? Another storyline I think to watch out for this game. Who is that fifth player in the starting lineup? We've seen it be Janico Giacco against Rhode Island. We saw it be Justin Fernandez with some success. Does Victor Bailey continue to keep his spot in the lineup? Obviously, he was dropped off. Does he continue to keep his spot now? Again, another guy who started against Rhode Island. Does he keep his spot? Kind of what's the deal with this lineup? How do we look against against VCU? Do we keep that same look from Rhode Island that, for the most part, worked pretty well? Or do we maybe go for a more defensive set? Does maybe someone like Saquon Singleton see a start just because of his defensive attributes? Not at all because of his offensive attributes, but because of his defensive attributes. Do we see a start from Singleton like that? That's going to be an interesting thing here, I think, storyline-wise for this Mason team. Like I said, 7.5-point underdogs against VCU, the starting line for tonight's game. 7 o'clock start time, stream live on ESPN Plus. Is not a national broadcast game, sorry to say, but on ESPN Plus, you'll see you'll be there, be able to stream the game for Mason. Obviously, if you're a fan, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest game of the year, the usual rivalry game against VCU. This goes back to the CAA days. This is now an A10 big deal thing. Obviously, last year, Mason were swept by VCU, losing both on the road and also, in a shame, losing the homecoming game against VCU last year, which was a tough blow to take. Obviously, not the same VCU team. Obviously, no Ward, no Vince Williams. These are two very, very good forwards. But this is still the same VCU team. They are 7th in the nation in turnovers taken. They are 7th in the nation in steals. Very good defensive team. This is the typical VCU Rams that you've seen under head coach Mike Rhodes. And like I said, important game for Mason. If they can pull it out, they do go to 5-3 in the A10 with both Joe's and UMass at home. Two very, very winnable games in the next week then afterwards, which could put Mason in an interesting situation and put Mason back in the top 4 conversation even after losing to George Washington about a week and a half ago now themselves. It's going to be really interesting to see what Mason does, how they're performing. What's the game plan here for the Patriots going forward? It'll be interesting to see what Kim English has cooked up to take down the Rams and to try and take them down on the road. Always a very, very tough place to play in the Siegel Center on a Wednesday night. So for now, that's all we've got for now. We will see you back here on Friday. We will have our review podcast, hopefully with a guest, not just me speaking. It's good to see all of you. I hope you can continue to start to support this. We'll be here to be your main voice in Mason basketball. Very excited to be starting this up and excited to hear your folks' opinions here. In fact, speaking of folks' opinions, let's look to our last video, which was the Spaces article found from our last video, the Spaces recording. All Spaces will now be to YouTube now, which will be hopefully a fun thing that we'll get to do here. Like I said, it's going to be really interesting to see here. Hopefully that we continue to get more and more content with you guys, more and more views, more and more sees. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's a big deal. Obviously from Brian, he says he's nervous. He's always nervous. Is anyone confident? I'm not going to lie, Brian. I'm not even confident. My final prediction for this game, I do think VCU is going to take it by 7. VCU 72, Mason 65 on the road at the Siegel Center. Hopefully, though, these guys will prove me wrong tonight, and hopefully it would be amazing and huge for this team if they can pull out a win tonight at the Siegel Center at VCU. If they can pull out that victory, be a big deal for the Patriots. We want to see your predictions for the night's game in the comments. Send us a message on our Twitter. Follow us there on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us here on the YouTube at Giant Killer. We will see you guys on Friday for the review of the VCU game. Thank you guys very much. See you guys next time.